I made this video last week. I named it Canada's Becoming 51st State. It's kind of a long video, but I was just talking about what would have to happen for Canadians to kind of agree with becoming 51st state, and just my opinions about it. Wasn't I didn't really mean it as some kind of propaganda or something. I mentioned something like that if liberals remain in power, the Canadians will wish that they became 51st state. I'm pretty sure I mentioned even how unrealistic it is that Canada would become the 51st state. And yeah, so it was kind of a reaction video to someone hating on that idea, and I just gave my own opinion. Someone might say uneducated. Oh, and they did. So we're just gonna go through the comments because some of them are like really ridiculous, really funny. So yeah, let's dive right into it. Canada will never be a 51st state. We can agree on that. Like, it's not gonna happen. Not only because of all the political reasons and like obviously Canada has provinces, right? It's not. It wouldn't be easy to include Canada as a 51st state. Another thing was that Canada would be pretty much like the representation in parliament and stuff would be the same, like let's say California. And since Canada right now is a liberal country, or the liberals are, even though they have minority government, they're still considered being in power, right? Trump and the Republicans would not allow it to happen. And obviously my point to that was that like Canadians are proud. They're never gonna agree to become Americans, and I agree with it. Like they shouldn't, but they need to look into what's going on in their country, and that's what I said. That like conservatives need to win this election, because then Canada needs to change. And a lot of people didn't agree with me. I got a lot of heat for that and hate and all of it. We'll see in those comments. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like if the liberals remain in power, the chances of Canada moving closer to US, closer, it's not going to become 51st state. Like, it's unrealistic. But yeah, moving closer to US, it's definitely a real option. I'm not saying liberals will agree with it, but the Canadian citizens probably. One thing I mentioned in the video is that I feel like if there will be a vote about Canada becoming 51st state. We all know that's not going to happen, right? But if let's just play what if. What I said is that it should be only people born and raised in Canada. So not immigrants. First generation Canadians, sure. But not immigrants. And that's one thing that I mentioned and I still stand for. Like, I'm immigrant. I love Canada. I'm not Canadian yet, right? I don't have my Canadian citizenship yet, so I'm not gonna say I'm proud Canadian. I don't agree with the politics, but other than that, I love this country. I love the people, the Canadians. So that's why I think that who's deciding about the country should be Canadians, first generation, and whoever's been here for a long time. Not the immigrants, because we don't have the same bond to the country as someone who was born and raised here, right? Obviously, like for me, I moved from my country to have a better life. I moved country I'm not gonna name, and then to Canada. So Canada's my third country, right? And I know how it is to move for a better life, right? And in this case, I don't think I should have any decision making in this case, even once I get my citizenship. That's why I'm saying that only people born and raised in Canada should vote regarding something as serious as this. And obviously not everyone saw my video, so yeah, you'll see the comments. So yeah, Canada will never be a 51st state. Obviously, we just went through it. Canada doesn't bend the knee like Trump did to Putin. What knee, dude? Like, who's bending the knee? Like, Trump's just joking. Do you understand that? Like, yes, I understand his president. Even if he was serious, he can't accomplish this alone. Just the president. Like, he would have to have support from Republican Party, probably even Democrats. It would have to go to Parliament, whatever. Like, there's no bending a knee. It's just literally, what if? And he bent the knee to Putin? Like, really? Sorry, to me that feels like you're just Trump hater. That he bent the knee to Putin. Don't agree with that. I'm British, and I can tell you without hesitation there is not one single Canadian who would want to be American. So you're British. And you're saying that there's not a single Canadian who would want to be American. Well, I live in Canada. I don't know if you are or no, because you didn't specify that, obviously. But there are some Canadians who would want to be Americans. Let's go into the replies, I wonder. There are, and the US can have them. Very, very few, and they are finding out how much they are disliked here. See, there are. And I don't know, it's a personal opinion that there's few of them and that they are disliked. You have right for personal opinion. Same like I'm saying my opinion, right? Canadians, or at least the ones I know, are very, very relaxed people. Not much faces them, and Canadian politeness is known across the globe. But I do know if you insult one, she will not be so relaxed. I can't believe their THEIR. Come on, dude. I'm immigrant. I have issues with grammar. But okay, yeah. There is any Canadian with any wisdom that would ever want to join the US. Again, you have right to your opinion. There are Canadians who would want to join the US, but it's not gonna happen. Here we go. There are some majority living in Alberta. Yeah, good Alberta. They want to be American so bad. They know where the door is. That's not true. That's actually not true. Like, you call Alberta pretty much Texas of Canada, right? But people here are proud to be Canadians. And they're proud that there's still some freedom in Alberta. Pretty much like Texas. Like, I live in Alberta. I don't think there's a lot of people who would want to be Americans. They just want a good quality of life. They want it back, and it's getting worse. And why is it getting worse? Because of liberals. Alberta's conservative, right? We don't even have NDP here. It's conservatives here. And they're doing whatever they can, but then you have Trudeau and the federal government who does something completely different. And the biggest issue, with quality of life right now in Alberta is immigration. It's funny to hear from me since I'm immigrant, and what I'm gonna say is exactly what I did, right? So I immigrated. I lived in Ontario. Wanted to buy a house. Bought a house in Alberta because it was cheaper. I went here and I was absolutely smitten. People are so nice. That's literally the Canadians you read about. They're chatty, nice, helpful, everything. Like, I love Albertans. But what happened since I moved here? More and more immigration. More and more people from Ontario. The roads get worse. It's harder to find a job. The real estate market is just through the roof. The prices, everything. And even though in Alberta the Liberals are not in power because everyone's moving from Ontario. Yeah, anyway, let's go. Hate to burst your bubble, but this Canadian would love nothing more. America's the best. I don't know if I believe that comment, who knows, right? But definitely, like I said, there are Canadians who would love to be part of America. So what's keeping you here? We don't care. Hate us all you like. Yeah, like, it's just personal opinion. Like, you don't need to hate anyone because of that, right? And yeah, let me guess, Albertans, to each their own, what you believe, but the base, whatever. Sorry, again, my immigrant ass can't pronounce it. Vast majority do not agree with you. How do you know about it? Oh, wait, that's kind of a weird reply. No, I'm Canadian there, but I'm Canadian, so obviously I'm poor as fuck. Trust me, I could afford to become American. If I could afford to become American, I already would have. Yeah. Well, I wish he talked a little bit about poor as fuck, because like I said, I've been here for 6 years now, and it's getting worse and worse and harder. Like, the price of the groceries almost doubled. But yeah, somehow people are thinking everything's okay. My Ford, F-O-U-R-R-D, country. I had to double check this actually, if I said it or no. And I did not. I said third country. Because obviously I know how many countries I lived in, right? But this is just so funny that someone used fourth country. I drive Ford, yeah, that's true. I don't know what's 4RD. But anyway, let's not stop being petty, right? Anyway, my fourth country, third, and nothing is good enough. Maybe it's you. So I'm the one who brings the governments down. Yeah. I get it. I'm the one who affects the cost of the groceries and everything. Actually, let me see how far this person went into my video, because I have it over here, right? My third country. Oh, okay. It was about 2 minutes into the video. Gotcha. Never mind then. Because yeah, I was talking about the price of the groceries and everything. I get that you don't want to watch the whole video, but man, don't react like this, man. And Ford. Well, it doesn't really, like, so far what I saw, I'm not really that confident about Canadian education. That will never happen. Enjoy your high prices on energy and food. USA, you reap what you sow. That's true. The tariffs are gonna be bad for US. We'll see how bad. I feel like it's gonna be bad for US companies, but my guess is that Trump actually has a plan for all of this. That's one thing I hate about, not hate, that's a strong word, I don't like or I disagree about in Canada is, especially in Alberta, I have oil fields pretty much every few kilometers on my drive to work, right? But what happens is that Canada is selling oil or gas or whatever you want to call it abroad to make profit, right? Maybe not Canadian government, but the companies. And then for the citizens and people living in Canada, you have to buy overpriced imported oil. That's ridiculous. And that's what I mean about that maybe Trump has a plan that they're just gonna buy whatever they get from their own country, and then no one's gonna suffer. And to me, it feels like he would go that way. Like, obviously, companies will make less profit, but if you start using the resources you have as a country, the citizens will be better off. And that's what I hope for Canada, that eventually the government will realize, let's use what we have here so Canadians can have a good life again. Because yeah, why am I buying expensive gas from, I don't know, US, Europe, Middle East, whatever, when literally we have gas over here? Anyway, yeah, let's go through these replies. Canada will suffer a lot more for a lot longer. America can rebound quickly, making trade happen across the ocean to Europe. Will take a lot more time than you might assume. These things won't spring into motion overnight, plus merging into a nearly maxed out market, you will have to take hits to sell off to get a share in their market, not to mention the new transportation cost added. Canada avoided these trade deals decades ago due to the logistical cost of moving goods that far. Canada exports to Europe will end up costing close to US proposed tariffs or even more than. He's right. This guy's right, for sure. Like, if they didn't establish the trade routes and deals and whatever, they're gonna end up paying pretty much the same amount of money, maybe even more. LOL, a better choice than dealing with whatever you're gonna bring us. What is Derek gonna bring you guys? Does he mean like the US? Or I don't know. Let's move further. So here's what would happen and why it would never happen, even if Canadians wanted it, which they don't. There would be a new blue state in the United States, even larger in population than California. It would hurt Republican chances of holding the Senate and decimate Republican prospects of holding the House and presidency. Yep, that's I agree with it. It's never gonna happen. And like I said, I even actually replied to this one, so I'm just gonna read it. I agree, even though I don't think if that happened, Canada would be a blue state. So my thinking about it is that people would not vote to join Canada if they were not pissed off with liberals. Of course, right now we have Liberal Party in power, right? So if you vote for liberals and you're happy with what's going on right now with Canada, why would you join the US? So that's my thinking. That you're not going to join the US while you're under Liberals, because obviously you're probably happy, right? Anyway, Liberals would never allow it. Also, people voting for Liberals are obviously happy with the state of Canada. That's what I meant, like current state of Canada. Why else would you vote for them again, right? On the other hand, conservatives would not allow it either, because I feel like the conservatives are all about Canadian values, and so there's that Canadian pride, and I don't think they would allow it, and I honestly think conservatives would kind of clean up the country or Canada, make it put it back on the right track, right? So people have a good quality of life. There's this Canadian dream again, and all of this. In my opinion, conservatives, in my opinion, would represent traditional Canadian values, and hopefully they would put Canada back on track. And then also we have the, I don't want to say logistical issues, but also you can't abolish the provinces. That would be a whole other issue. I feel like the other option is to create an organization similar to the EU, but I don't think that's realistic either. So the thing about EU, I would compare US itself to EU. I mean, you can't even compare it like this. I know you have a separate states in US and different laws in those states, right? I mean, I guess you can compare it. EU just don't have a president. But in the end, it's very similar. Like you have a lot of states that are their own, they have their own government, borders, laws, everything, but then you belong under something bigger, and the bigger thing still has some laws that you need to obey. So yeah, I guess I would compare US, if I'm really if I don't really go into detail, I would compare US to EU or EU to US. Similar, not the same, but similar. And that's why I don't really think you can create something like EU between US and Canada, because US is already kind of, if I simplify it, as EU, right? Anyway, but yeah, I feel like they can have some special trade deals, maybe abolish the need for visas between US and Canada, like work visas and stuff like this, because in the EU, like with my passport, I can go wherever I want within EU. Anyway, I never thought of that or that way. Only if the new Puerto Rico could vote. You think the annexation is going to include a right to vote? LOL. Who is talking about annexation, man? Like, it's just ridiculous. Making Canada a state would imply a right for its citizens to vote, at least as long as the US Constitution still holds. Who knows how long that will last, though? So there could have been some miscommunication, like I explained what I meant by liberals. I don't know actually if it's a reply to me, but I meant like people would not vote for liberals unless they're happy with the current state of Canada. So why would they want to vote for liberals and move to US or become 51st state, right? Here we go. I personally hate Trudeau, but before you comment on how Canadian political parties replace leaders, you should actually learn something about our system. Trudeau has resigned as a head of the Liberal Party, and that is already done. The Liberals now need to elect a new leader, at which time Trudeau will resign as Prime Minister. and the new leader of the Liberal Party will accept the office. Trudeau could have resigned both the Liberal Party lead and the position of minister simultaneously. You know what the word is. But it would have been more chaotic, as since the Liberal Party has no leader, the deputy prime minister would be sworn in as a prime minister, but only until Liberals elect a new leader, at which time the deputy prime minister would resign as prime minister, and the new Liberal leader would be sworn. This would mean potentially 3 prime ministers in a matter of few months. He's right. I looked into it. He's right. I was definitely uneducated about this. To me, it just didn't make sense, because if you look at even like US presidential election, within 2 months, Biden gave power to Trump, right? No issues over there. To me, it just looks crazy that Trudeau resigned, I think January 9th or something like that. It's almost March and he's still in power. That's something crazy to me. But yeah, like I say, I admit I was wrong here. I was not informed about this this specific topic. So, I'll even give him a like, because he's right. Next one, Puerto Rico wants to be your 51st state, and they are welcome to have that title. Canadian and American culture is very different. Right now, America has turned into a Trumpster fire. Sadly, Canada needs to distance itself from that fire. It is giving off toxic gas. Disagree. I don't even think that the cultures are very different. Or it's hard to describe. So both of these countries were built on immigrants, pretty much, right? So that's one of the similarities. Obviously, the cultures are different, but what I like about Americans is that what they do with their immigrants, they make them assimilate to the American culture. In Canada, what happened during the Liberals right now, somehow they started, it even sounds crazy to say, but they made Canadians assimilate to the immigrants. And it's ridiculous. Like, especially in Ontario, for example, somehow it is okay to purchase a lamb and slaughter her in your backyard for religion purposes, and no one can say anything against it. That's just one example that for me it's just crazy. Like, I feel like there should be a little bit more push towards assimilating immigrants into the Canadian culture, not other way around. Like, you want to preserve Canadian culture, right? You want to preserve all the good why the immigrants are coming here. And that's not happening. Like, it's going other way around. Like, Canada's changing, and that's all thanks to the Liberals. Like I said, it's very hard to explain, but it feels like Canada's just losing itself. And it's not just my opinion, sadly, because yeah, I'm immigrant, right? What do I know? But I spoke to a lot of Canadians who sees it as well, and like, what do you want to do against it? And that's why I have high hopes for Conservatives, because I feel like they want to preserve the Canadian values, culture, everything. They want to protect it, right? And Liberals are not doing it, unfortunately. So let's go. That will never happen. No, it won't. I know. Again, it was just my opinion talking about it, some pros and cons, and just food for thought. This one made me laugh a lot. So, like, you're in favor of Putin taking over Czechia? I was born during the Russian occupation, while Czech Republic was occupied by Russia. What the fuck are you talking about? We've been there. Like, to me, that feels like you don't know much about the history. I'm sorry. Obviously, I'm not in favor, and I hope it's never gonna happen again. And I feel like Czech Republic did everything they could against it happening again. And I think Trump likes that idea too. I don't think so. Like, the issue Trump has with Ukraine is that for 4 years, no one was doing anything about it. Or was it 3 years? I think 3. Sorry, my bad. But for all of these years, no one was doing anything about the war. All they did was just sending money to Ukraine and didn't push Ukraine to start dealing about a peace or negotiate, like put some diplomacy in there, which I think was a mistake, because right now Ukraine is in a much worse place than they were in 2022, right? I'm not saying it was a good solution or it wasn't handled good, this whole war. Like, my opinion is during the first week, European Union, maybe even the US, they should have just stormed to the Ukraine and pushed Russians away. Would that lead to the World War III? I personally don't think so. I really think Putin just tried, and since everyone led him to do it, he just continued. Would that lead to the World War III now if out of nowhere NATO just stormed to the Ukraine? Yes. My opinion is yes. I think it would lead into World War III. So again, the best solution would be just storm there back in the day, push him away. Since that didn't happen, all of the support, financial, weapons, everything that Ukraine received should have been under one condition, that you're gonna try to negotiate peace. But it wasn't there. And that's what Trump's pissed off about. That's why he's trying to just negotiate peace. I don't really think he's bending the knee to Putin or anything like that. I think he's just businessman. He sees how damaging it is for the whole world, for obviously Ukraine, US, and everyone, and he's just trying to solve it. So no, I don't think Trump would like idea of Putin taking over anyone else in Ukraine. I don't even think he likes the idea of Putin taking over the whole Ukraine. But there's a deal that needs to happen, and unfortunately Ukraine's not controlling I think 3 territories that Russia took over, and Trump is smart. He knows Russia's not gonna give it up easily. So anyway, another comment. My fourth country and nothing is good enough. Then please go to the US. I have a feeling that this was a bot, or other comment was the bot, because it's exactly the same comment with a little bit difference on the at the end. But yeah, it's not 4RD country, it was third country. Nothing is good enough. Not true. Like I said, the quality of life went a little bit downhill last 3 years. I blame the government. Then please go to the US, man. I'm not even gonna react anymore. Also, what if Trump declared pizza to be American invention and claimed all rights for the brand for himself? Same answer. Another page of the book titled "Shit That's Never Gonna Happen" will be written. It's a pretty big book already. This guy gets it. It's all joke. Like, it's not realistic. We're talking about something that's not realistic. Please, if you will only accept to remain Canadian if Pierre wins, then please leave now. Go back to Czechia or move to US. I will help pack up your home and send you there. Some of us who were not born here are overly happy that our parents decided to come here and not the neo-authoritarian state that the US is becoming. So some of us who were not born here, so the guy is not born in Canada, are overly happy that our parents decided to come here. So I guess you immigrated with the parents when you were little. That's how I would understand it. And not the neo authoritarian state that the US is becoming. You know what? I think US is becoming much better than it was last 4 years. Like, I don't know, you have the freedom of speech is back. But yeah, it's your opinion. Anyway, please go. The roads there are paved in gold. You will easily get a high paying job so you can afford a big expensive car and a big expensive house with a wife who looks like a model, and life is perfect. The fuck? Yeah, I'm glad you know my values, man. Go now. And you saying that Europeans are only proud during the sporting events is also one of the stupidest, most idiotic things I heard you say. Here we go. So I don't know if you're from Europe, but I specifically said Europeans, and I'm talking for the Czech Republic. I specifically corrected it that as a coming from Czech Republic. Yes, we are proud only during sporting events. You don't see the flags on the street in my country. No, unless there's some national holiday, you don't have a freaking flag on the street like in the US. The only time you're like, oh, I'm Czech, yeah, is literally during the sporting events. So I don't know where you're from, but that's my experience. My 26 years living in Czech Republic. I spoke about it with my parents, my friends, and everyone agreed. What might be the little bit disconnection over here, and I don't want to make excuses for you, right? But if you speak to the Europeans that left Europe, they are more proud than the actual Europeans in Europe. And I agree with it. And I experienced it myself. Like living in Canada, I'm more proud for my nation than I was living in Czech Republic. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm like some crazy proud, because it wasn't instilled in me from the time I was born up until now, right? But it's different when you're in Europe, and it's different when you're talking, let's say, to the Italian in Canada or Italian in US. Like, immigrants are more proud than the people who actually stayed in their own countries. That's my opinion. I experienced it myself. Like I said, speaking from the experience from Czech Republic, not the whole Europe. Czech Republic is mostly proud. Like, people are proud of being Czechs during sporting events. Other than that, you don't see the flags on the streets, other than national holidays. That's what I'm saying. My experience from the Czech Republic. If you're from Czech Republic, we can talk about it. But other than that, still stand by that. Low knowledge individual. Let's go. Yep. I'd be interested to hear this person tell us exactly what is wrong with the liberals. So what specifically PP will do to fix it, and what Trump would do for us. I mean, specifics. All I hear is these guys are bad and these guys will fix it, and joining the US would be great. Sounds a lot like Trump with no substance, no details. I'd be interested in hearing it. So I replied to it. I'm sure I said it in the video as well. Not all of it, but definitely. Big issue, immigration. It's just letting too many immigrants into the country. Again, I know it sounds funny because I am immigrant, right? But the house prices soar like crazy because of the amount of people moving to Ontario. Then the crime rate went high. And you can argue me on that, but did you see like the freaking sword fights in the Brampton and LBC? What's it? Damn, LCBO getting robbed during the daylight and then freaking shooting in Toronto or Etobicoke or whatever. It's all over the place right now. And the issue I mentioned about immigration is that the Liberal Party is not pushing on immigrants to assimilate into the Canadian culture. What the Liberal Party is doing is that they're trying Canadian culture to assimilate into what the immigrants are bringing here. Which, like, if you leave your own country, you leave it for some reason. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud, you shouldn't have your community or anything like that, but you shouldn't try to change the country you moved into your original country. And that's what liberals allowed. Like, Canada's changing, and not the good way, not a good change. Like, you're losing the Canadian culture, and it's ridiculous. Like, you know how Canadians were polite. There was a lot of jokes about Canadians being like, sorry. And of course, sometimes it was kind of like, sorry, fuck you. You know, like with kind of podtext like, oh yeah, sorry, when you're actually thinking, fuck you. But what happened now with immigration is somehow people think that you can be asshole as long as you say sorry. It's not an accident. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this asshole move, and if I get caught, I will just say sorry. That's not Canadian culture, dude. Like, you can argue me on that, but no. So that's one big issue that liberals allowed and to the extent supported as well. Another issue I had is misuse of taxpayers' money. To me, this is treason. Like, taxes over here are crazy. That's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but that's something you have to live with, right? But what should happen is the taxpayers' money, or tax money, or taxes, whatever, should go towards improving the life of Canadians, or fixing the potholes, all of that shit, right? Which is pretty much improving the life anyway. But no, what they're doing is they're sending it to all of these other causes outside of Canada. Pretty much the same thing that was happening in the US. They're sending it somewhere else where it's not gonna benefit to the normal Canadians. That's ridiculous. Like, so I'm giving you money to send it somewhere outside of country. What the hell is that? And like, yeah, in this case, I can bring up Ukraine, right? Like, I don't agree with what happened there. I'm against it. It's bad. But the countries that are offering support, like, it should be voted for by the citizens. Like, do you want to send money to Ukraine? Because it's our money, right? It's the money we pay on the taxes. Like, we should have say to it. Like, there should be a vote, and whatever the majority of the people will be for, do that. But not being like, oh yeah, it's their money, just send it over there. Like, I feel like, and that's what Trump's doing, is that he takes the American citizens as his number one priority. Once the American citizens are in a good position, then we can look how to help the rest of the world. And that's how it should work. Like, call me naive or whatever, but like, you vote the politicians to work for you, but somehow they don't. Another issue I have is DEI, reverse discrimination, and racism. You know, the certain amount of minorities you need to hire, no matter if they're actually the best qualified person for that position. Like, you're not hiring based on merit. That's what I have issue with. I don't care if I don't care who gets the position, as long as it's the one who's most qualified, most experienced. Like, I don't care if they're heterosexual or something else. I don't care if they're Caucasian, Asian, black, whatever. As long as they're qualified, like the best candidate for the position, hire them. But no, somehow here you have reverse discrimination and reverse racism and normal racism, and all of it is supported. And you saw all of this during the COVID, and who allowed it? Liberals. Like, there was a huge breach into the freedom of speech during the COVID. Again, who allowed it? Liberals. Exactly same shit that happened in the US. Canadian oil being sold outside of Canada while Canadians have to buy overpriced imported oil. Should I even say more? It says pretty much everything, right? Lastly, if you... yeah. The way Trudeau resigned, we already talked about it. That was just... that was not enough knowledge to talk about it. To me, it still sounds crazy that he resigned in January, but he's still in power. But yeah, well, different country. Anyway, this guy replied to it. It doesn't change the fact that you are not very smart. You can have your opinion. Don't care. Clickbait. Canada is not becoming the 51st state. Stop saying this to get views. Dude, YouTube's all about clickbaits, right? Like, even the legacy media use clickbaits. I gotta stop, dude. Please change the title. It is revolting and should be removed. Same thing. Sorry, Eugene. No. We don't want Trudeau, but Poilievre will bend the knee to Trump. Poilievre is very similar to Trump. Is he gonna bend the knee? I don't think so. They're gonna butt the heads. And eventually, hopefully, they're gonna find some compromise and the quality of life in Canada will improve. That's, call me naive, but that's what I hope for. Anyway, you're a goof. Thanks. Lol, what a bullshit channel. I agree. My channel is all over the place. I just do whatever I want. If you have opinion that is bullshit channel, but yeah, like like I said, it's all over the place. Whatever. Wait, is that the same guy who's like, doesn't change the fact you're not very smart? Okay, let's not take it personal, but you're the one commenting on my video. You're the one wasting your time. Anyway, California should be part of Denmark. They'll be happier, support it. Okay. You privatize my free medical health care, and the newest drone flipper Zero scrambles video surveillance and scrambles insurance databases. Yeah, that's definitely the issue I would have about Canada becoming, obviously it's not going to happen, becoming the state in the US is the healthcare. I love how people use free medical healthcare because you pay for it in your taxes, even though it does not specifically say, but it's not like it came from the sky and it's for free from God, right? But that's discussion on it's completely different story. But yeah, definitely the healthcare over here is much better to non-existent healthcare in US, right? That's definitely a good point. Like, no. It's not that bad in Canada. I live in one of the most expensive cities, so one wage and a pension, and still we do okay. If the tariffs hit, yeah, everyone's gonna have a problem, no doubt there. Canada has never backed down from fascists and bigots before, and I don't think we will now. Overusing the word fascist, can agree with it. Why are you calling Trump fascist? That's not what he is. Just go to your history books and look what fascists actually did and compare it to Trump. No, we don't want Trump Jr. I don't know what comment is this. Yeah, whatever. Let him dream, the motherfucker. This will never happen. again, like I pretty much said it in the video. Like I get all of these comments. Like you're not gonna watch an hour-long video, and probably if you do, you're probably not gonna comment. So whatever. Good luck. I mean, never good luck to you if you move to the States. Thanks, man. Yeah. Another chance. Pretty much, yeah. Bloody clickbait. Yeah. You're on YouTube, dude. I'm a born and raised Canadian, and I believe it would be amazing for us if we became part of America. I think this gentleman already commented like that. Yeah, but like there's definitely Canadians who who would not be against it, and that was point of my video, right? Like right now you have some Canadians that are not against it, and the point of my video was that if liberals will still remain in power, which pretty much means nothing's gonna change in Canada, there's gonna be more and more of Canadians who would like to be part of America. You can disagree with me, but I think that's the way it's gonna go.